Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, where you is. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am your host, Tom Connors. With me tonight is Six. How are you doing?
Hello, Tom. Hello, Mikey.
Still feeling under the weather?
I woke up Saturday morning and I thought, am I transitioning into a man?
Maybe.
But it turns out I just have the flu.
Is it the future now where you can just take a pill and do that?
Yeah, I think so. I wish I could take a pill and get rid of this, but there will be multiple cough breaks.
Yeah, you got people out there doing that business, but yet we can't even cure the common cold.
Six, if Six is concerned about whether or not she's waking up, Mexican Iron Man stands at the ready to inspect all necessary areas by your side to make sure you're not.
I'll send pics. How about that?
Oh, I was supposed to wait for my intro. Sorry, Tom.
It's all good. You guys are talking about naughty pics, so I'm not going to get in the way. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us once again, the one, the only, the Mexican Iron Man. Live
Ladies.
from Hilton Head.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
A lot of ladies screaming.
Hello. Ladies, don't fight over me. There's more than enough. Trust me, more than enough Mexican Iron Man to go around. Thanks for having me tonight. I worked really hard and got all my work done so I could make tonight's show because I've been working really hard this week and I've been in a crappy mood. And I'm like, meat always brings up my spirit. So I worked really hard and I got my homework done that had to get done today. And I'm like, I'm getting there. Hi, everybody.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, meat either gets me in a good mood or I flip the table and rage quit. So stick around, folks.
But I can't quit. I can't quit you, Six. I can't quit you.
This is getting awkward. I hope we get another guest here soon.
Yep. Yeah, I have not been in my right mind this whole week. I'm just like, I'm not right.
Yeah. Anyway, we got some news to talk about. We got some trailers. Sorry, dealing with something here real quick.
I'm painting his fingernails.
No, I was just talking some behind the scenes shenanigans with somebody else that has very little to do with this show. Has more to do with 4K.
Are you fighting with somebody on Twitter?
No, actually I'm not, but that is actually part of the show. But yeah.
I'm not sure what's more entertaining, the fights you get in or the ones where people suck you into their string and then pick a fight with you. Because there's both.
This one I didn't even really get so much into a fight, but it did feed me an idea of you like, you know what, I think this is something we should talk about that nobody else has really talked about. And it's in the title. It's like, are spoilers a problem? So that is going to be the big topic tonight, outside of the smaller topics we get into, and of course the lead topic, which is sad news, and that is that Bruce Willis has been diagnosed with dementia after retiring due to aphasia. So this was something that we kind of knew was coming, but some people were hoping he might get better, but it doesn't appear that's going to be the case. So from Variety, it says after Bruce Willis's family announced it in March of 2022 that the 67-year-old actor had been diagnosed with aphasia, so this is roughly a year ago, and would retire from acting, his condition has now progressed into frontotemporal dementia. His family posted a statement on Thursday about Willis's latest diagnosis, stating, since we announced Bruce's diagnosis of aphasia in spring of 2022, Bruce's condition has progressed, and we now have more specific diagnosis. Frontotemporal dementia, known as FTD. Unfortunately, challenges with communication are just one symptom of the disease Bruce faces. While this is painful, it is a relief to finally have a clear diagnosis, his family wrote. So yeah, this is sad news. Six, do you know anything about this disease? I know this is
I know a little bit. I've had one patient with this. It's a little bit rare, and it's a very frustrating road to diagnose. It can be a very frustrating road to diagnosis because there's so many other things that need to be ruled out, and there's the symptoms are often they can often start as something that's just labeled mental illness. And I've heard of people that have been hospitalized for a week or two just because the way that it manifests, it starts to shut down the body system. So the person can stop taking their medication. They can stop bathing themselves. They can stop eating, drinking. They'll lose continence. And when it's somebody who's young, how old is Bruce Willis?
I believe he's in his early 60s, if I'm not mistaken. But we also have joining us Cece Karaoke. Welcome, Cece.
Hi, Cece.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, I know you probably heard most of this in the background as you were waiting to come in. And also joining us as well is, for the first time, I believe, on Midnight's Edge After Dark, just another red shirt. How you been?
Yeah, I've been great. I'm just
Glad to have you
still
here.
setting up. Yeah, I'm still trying to get set up with a new laptop, so I don't think I have an audio icon. I'll look for that. Give me a second.
Yeah, you're coming through a little, like, sounds like you're coming through like a faraway mic or something. But yeah, go ahead and
me holding a pillow over your face.
Yeah, something like that.
Is that better?
A little bit better. Yeah. You sound closer anyway. We also have Dustin, aka Keto Simple. You've seen him in the chat before, and we've hung out on Toxic Tuesdays and other places. So welcome for the first time to the show. But sadly, we're talking about sad news at first here. Yeah, as Six was explaining to us, and I'm sure she's got maybe a little bit more to say about it, but it sounds like this is something they've been trying to get diagnosed for a year, and now they have more answers. And you were just talking about how difficult, not only was it to diagnose, but to deal with, obviously. Six, if you want to continue.
The patient that I did have with it, she was 35, and her mother went to hell and back trying to figure out what was wrong with her daughter. And and so when she found out, the doctor said frontotemporal dementia, and all she heard was dementia, and she's like, what? And she just could not wrap her mind around the fact that her daughter had dementia at 35. So it's all dementia, whether you're 80 or whether you're 35, is a sad, because people start to lose pieces of themselves. And so their family members start to lose pieces of their loved one. And it's tragic. My father died of Alzheimer's. It's horrific to go through as a family member.
Yeah, my grandmother had it, and CC just said in the background here, so did his. At least dementia anyway. Yeah, it is terrible. Also, Bruce is 67. People were asking how old he is. So he's not a young buck, but it is really sad, though, considering he was so sharp and one of those guys that seemed like much younger than his age for years. But yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of Bruce's for a long time. I've heard the stories about him, but as it is, he's Bruce Willis. He's in Die Hard. As far as I'm concerned, Die Hard is the greatest action film of all time. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that. It's just sad. We kind of knew that he was retiring and he was getting to this point, but it's just too bad. And hopefully he and his family can deal with this as best as possible going forward. Six, did you have anything more to say, or did you want to move on to Mike?
No, I don't have anything. I don't want to be a downer, because I can go, just because it's a personal to me, because of my father having Alzheimer's. It's just sad. And I'm glad for his family that they have an answer, because I think that they said in their statement or something that I read that the family was, they finally had a diagnosis or something.
Yeah, that's what I just read there. Yeah.
He's amazing. Bruce Willis is an amazing actor. He just always seemed like a really cool guy.
Yeah, I just hope there's people around him worried more about his well-being and not, because a lot of times we have these problems, like we heard horror stories about Stan Lee and other people that were taken advantage of. So yeah, hopefully he's being well taken care of.
Yeah.
Mikey, what's your feelings on that?
Man, Bruce Willis is he's an icon of my life. He came out in so many movies that were great, that everybody can love, yet he came out in so many movies that were mediocre, that were still immensely entertaining for me. So this is a bummer. Time carries on, and time passes by, and one by one, the icons of our youth and adulthood face the challenges that life brings as the years go by.
Yeah, that's very poignant, and thank you, Mike. CC, what about you?
Growing up, if I had a top 5 favorite actors, Bruce Willis is on it. I mean, I loved everything he did. I watched his movies more than anything. Top 3, maybe even. And so it hurts to see this. But he also, like, I mean, the guy barely looks 50. Never mind 67. He looks healthy. He looks well. And I just hope that it works out well for him, because I know there's a lot of uncertainty about how this could play out. As I mentioned in the back with my grandmother, she had it. And, you know, sometimes people would say that she really had no clue. But at the same time, I could sit down with her alone in her room and have extensive conversations with her about her life, and she seemed completely lucid, you know? So
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I had similar experiences with my grandma, yeah.
Yeah, those moments of lucidity are precious.
But they can get very sad sometimes too. It's tough. But yeah, Dustin, anything to say on this?
I mean, it's so tragic. I mean, I imagine that we've all sort of dealt with something like this in our lives with a loved one, like my great grandfather. But I mean, it hits hard when it's someone that's, you know, like legitimately close to you. But it's almost like a different kind of pain when it's like a movie star or something like that you've connected with for your whole life. I don't remember a time where Bruce Willis wasn't in my life. So, I mean, it's difficult to know that he's not going to be making movies anymore.
Yeah. Red Shirt, anything to say on Bruce?
Yeah, this is sad for all of us who've been fans of Bruce Willis over the years, but it's infinitely more sad for his family. I've, like some of you, I've also had experience with a relative with dementia, and the person just disappears. The person you remember disappears, but they're still there, but they're not. And for movie fans knowing, okay, he's not going to be making any more movies, that is sad. But this is a tragedy for Bruce and his family.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and sadly, there's not much more we can say in that other than we can just celebrate his career and, like I said, hope that he's being taken care of. We got Waltman here and says that THR article about too much Marvel now. I saw that, Waltman. I'm not sure we're going to get into that today. We may save that for the morning show, actually. So stay tuned for that. Then we got Cammy Anime S, who says J.J. Abrams projects are canceled via Hollywood Rep. Yeah, well, we've been reporting this for a while, Cammy. I don't know if you've been listening, but Six posted this earlier today. I saw his Justice League Dark is the next one to be called out as canceled. I don't know if people noticed that, but I'm not surprised at all. I don't think any of his projects are going to move forward outside of Constantine, and the only reason that's moving forward is because he's attached to it as a producer contractually. That's it. I don't know if anybody has any comments on the JJ projects being canceled left and right, but
only a sarcastic
and nothing of value
one.
was lost.
Yes, I was going to say, what a shame.
I guess he's not too big to fail.
I guess not.
Never was, despite what he wants to make you think. Shh. Bad reboot. And that, of course, was from our buddy Douglas Nelson. Of course, thank you again, guys. We got a pooper sticker. Only a few people are allowed to send me pooper stickers, and one of them's Mr. Buttcrack Media. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate the pooper stickers around here just the same.
Wait a second. I have questions about the pooper sticker. Who
about it?
Is not allowed to send you a pooper sticker?
It's just a saying.
And what? Oh, I thought we were going to dive into the...
I mean, if
I thought
pretty
there
much
was some
anybody
type of
sends me a pooper sticker,
lore.
I'd say the same thing. Well, It used to be that, well, it started, okay, actually, there is kind of. It actually started that the only person who would ever send pooper stickers was Christy and Mr. Buttcrack Media. So that was just kind of the thing. So it just became like only 2 people are allowed to send me, you know, pooper stickers, and they're one of them. But if somebody were to happen to send me one, I would say the same thing, just because they're part of the crew now.
I try to send one to Gary with a J every time I watch his show.
He would probably take it personally.
Yeah, he cries. It's terrible.
In the corner.
Yeah. Sticks his thumb in his mouth. It's pathetic.
It's been a while. Well, we'll have him back here next week, maybe. 16-Bit says, Hail Tom and Mead. Good crew tonight. Well, thank you. We like to change it up a little bit. As I promised, we would have some new faces on here. Always enjoy and hope you're having a good week, and cheers. Well, thank you. I was until I went to watch South Park earlier, and it's not on HBO Max yet. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
The first episode is of this season.
Yeah, I know, but there was a new episode last night. It's about Harry and what's her face.
Dude, I went to go see it too, and I didn't find it either.
Yeah, just the first episode, but it's probably not until midnight tonight or whatever. So, because I think their deal is they have to wait 24 hours or a day after it airs to get it. But yeah. And then Randall Orser, who's been a member for 4 months at the maximum effort puppy level, says, watched Open Bar and Drinker had Dave Cullen on, who's liked Picard season 3 and said it wasn't woke, and the panel liked it. Well, that seems to be mostly the consensus. I haven't checked it out myself yet. I checked out before season 2. Yeah. From what I've been hearing, maybe I'll check it out and I'll let you guys know. Andre was thinking about reviewing it, but I'm like, Andre, I haven't even watched season 2 yet, so. But it doesn't sound like it's a requirement, so we'll have to see. CC sent me a pooper sticker. You can't be sending me pooper stickers, man.
Is there like a secret list somewhere that I need to manage?
Of course.
Is there a secret list I need to manage or what?
No, I'm kidding. It was just playing off the joke. And of course, 6 also had to send a pooper sticker just to prove her point that I will take a pooper sticker from anybody who sends me a pooper sticker, even though I said only a few people are allowed, like 6 and CC and Mr. Buckrack Media, of course.
Bend over, Tom. Here's my pooper sticker.
Can I leave the room first before you bend over?
Is it going to be like that video where the chick was walking with the tail and the guy pulled it out or whatever? Did you see that?
What?
And she's like, hey. Well, it was a butt
tail.
plug.
What?
Yes.
There was a commercial?
No. The video. It was on Twitter.
We don't watch those kinds of videos, Tom.
It just comes up on my feed.
Uh-huh. That's weird. Stuff like that never comes on my feed.
Oh my God! Suddenly there's a meteor striking South Carolina, and I gotta go now.
That's probably where it came from. Was Mikey? Jim Watari says, "Mikey,
what?
Have you recovered enough for another shot of booze? A fancy drink?"
Oh shoot! Hold that super chat. Hold on.
We're holding it.
I wasn't ready.
We got some hold music. Please hold. I'm kidding, of course. We don't have to hold. Mike, you'll come back with the drink. There he is. See, he's even got a hat on. Look at that. He's gonna.
Well, I thought Jim might show up, so in honor of Jim, I got the sombrero. I got due to Jim, I probably at this point have about half a bottle left. Just Jim alone has been responsible for. We got a glass so people can see there's no water in there. I don't want any accusers saying that I'm not. All right, there you go. 3, 2, 1. Arriba, andale.
Yeah. So he drank some fancy tequila. Is that what it is, or what is it?
That is some fancy tequila.
I think Mikey froze.
Oops.
Oopsie.
Too strong.
It was too strong. Well, you would know, keto. I mean, how it affects the. Speaking of, should I get on a keto diet? Do you think?
I mean, I'm gonna say yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Yeah, of course you would, Mikey.
I mean, okay. So weight loss aside, I think there's a lot of benefits to the keto diet that I think that gets overlooked when you're dealing with whether you should or shouldn't. Mental clarity, not being tired all the time. There's just a lot of things that come into play with that. I think that's a huge benefit for most people.
I completely disagree.
There you go. But somebody disagrees, but keto has a channel, so that's what he does. I, on the other hand, eat too much sugar. Yeah. Anyway, we have a few other stories to cover. Hollywood never learns, and who's surprised?
Not me.
Are you? Anybody? Nobody?
No.
Even though we already had one, Fox is setting up a Starsky and Hutch remake. Only this time, guess what, kids?
They're going to be Mexican?
Going to be whamming?
No, it was door number 2. They're going to be whammons.
Man, they never call the Mexicans.
I know, right? The network is developing a female-led update of the 1970s detective show, even though we got a Ben Stiller and who was it? Owen Wilson, I think it was, in the other one.
Oh,
Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop Dogg was in it. Yeah, as Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
Fire up the Gran Torino, an update of the 70s cop show Starsky and Hutch is in offing. Fox's development is in development of the project, aka that'd be Disney, right? Which will feature two female characters in the title roles via its script to series model. Fox Entertainment president Michael Thorne told the Hollywood Reporter THR he expects to at least have two scripts from the writers showrunners Sam Sclavar of Prodigal Son and Elizabeth Peterson of The Resident before making a decision on it. So they haven't even made a decision yet. Sony Pictures Television, which as Columbia Pictures TV produced the original series and Fox Entertainment are producing, the show is one of a handful of projects in Fox development pipeline. Network is also, okay, so this is their network. So this is the Fox network now, right? This has nothing to do with Disney. Somebody has to come in and clarify this shit for me now. That's the problem. So I never know which is which anymore. I don't know. I believe this has to do with the Fox network, not the Fox television entertainment part of it. The Disney owns, like with the Simpsons and shit. But yeah. The reimagining will center around two female detectives, Sasha Starsky and Nicole Hutchinson. They solve crimes in the offbeat downtown of Desert City while staying true to their friendship, their awesomeness, and somehow also trying to unravel the mystery behind who sent their fathers to prison 15 years ago for a crime they didn't commit. Yay. William Blinn created the original stories, which ran from 75 to 79 on ABC and starred David Soul, Michael and Paul Michael Glazer in the title roles, Antonio Fargas as Huggy Bear, and two detectives informant, or the two, I can't read tonight. Jesus Christ. I wish they would do dark mode. That'd be nice. And a cherry red Ford Ferrari. Nobody cares. Okay, so what the fuck? I gotta imagine there's a few guys on this panel who are fans of Starsky and Hutch. Let's start with Red Shirt. I gotta imagine you watched the show as a kid.
Oh, I watched this and saw David Soul on Top Gear and watched a couple of movies he was in. This was, for its time, this was an iconic show. This was a big deal in the 70s. I mean, today it looks dated and kind of silly and people make fun of it, and rightfully so, because some of it was just predictable and formulaic. But I think it was 6 that commented on Twitter, like, what happened? You know, they've already done this. It was called Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah, that's true.
They had the show with female detectives. I mean, why do they need to do this? Why do they even need to remake this thing?
Why not do Cagney and Lacey? You're right. I agree.
You know, they redid Charlie's Angels. At least they kept them women, because that would have been really kind of silly.
Oh yeah,
but no, this is
I would
just
have loved to have seen the alternate on that one.
Oh, but no, this doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, this is a movie this is a show that is now lost in the mists of television history in many respects. I don't even know if it's been syndicated or shows up anywhere on late night, some cable channel, because I haven't had cable in 3 years. But no, this just seems like, hey, this used to be popular. Let's make it again. Dumb.
I agree. Keto. Dustin, what do you think?
I think they need an original idea. I don't know why. I mean, that show doesn't even really translate now, does it? I mean it's from the 70s. I mean, you can make it work. I mean,
I don't know.
Are they going to go overly comedic? Or are they going to go serious? Like, how do they approach it?
I don't know. I mean, they went comedy already with the Ben Stiller. Was it Owen Wilson who was in it with him?
It was one of the Wilsons.
I think so. In the whatever 2000 update version. And that was just basically like a parody of it in a way too. I barely remember it.
That wasn't bad. I mean, Snoop Dogg was funny in it. I mean, I watched it the one time. I think we saw it in theaters, and I never saw it again. So, and I mean, I saw this show in reruns because I was born in '79. So, in the 80s. I saw reruns of this because the car was cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, that's the thing. From when I was a young kid, all I remembered of the show was the car and the theme song. And then, of course, I caught it in a few reruns as I got older, like you just said. But yeah, I don't really see why. Unless you're just going to do it Starsky and Hutch, it makes no sense. CC, what do you think?
Interestingly, I never remember seeing it in syndication when I was growing up in the 90s. I don't know if I was unlucky.
Yeah, but you're Canadian.
Yeah, so maybe it was just the networks we had up here. No, seriously.
But it's true, though. It might be why.
I know with like Saint Elsewhere, which I love, I mean, you could barely find that anywhere unless you dig deep on the internet nowadays. So I'm guessing Starsky and Hutch was a little bit more available. I'm going to take a softer stance on it personally. Like, for me, it's one of those kind of show formats where, okay, it's Starsky and Hutch and you're using that IP, but it's a format that can just tell endless stories like CSI, for example. If you have good ideas and you have good scripts, then you can come up with original ideas in that universe and it can be good. And if it's female, it can still be good, especially if they let the female Starsky and Hutch be female, you know what I mean? To get into it with the guys and just have fun rather than being way too, oh, wow, they're actually just guys, but they're females,
I mean, I get what you're saying, and I mean, I'd agree, but I'm basically the same thing, like what Red Shirt said. We already had Cagney and Lacey. Remake that instead if you want to do a female-driven detective show. I mean, the only thing that really differentiates the two is the car, if you think about it, at the end of the day. But I don't know. Mikey, what do you think? I don't know if you
this
really
is part of
remember
a
the show,
continued plot and conspiracy to erase the white man and his cultural icons from our history. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. And I say, Cracker Nation, let's unite, even though I'm kind of dark skinned. Like, I am starting the movement. Ladies and gentlemen, it's starting tonight on Midnight's Edge. Your trusted friend, Mexican Iron Man, is here to galvanize the people. Let us stand together. Cracker Nation, we must take back our IPs. Let's not take this anymore. We are not standing by anymore. We must unite. Let us band together. Hashtag Saltine Nation. Hashtag Cracker Nation. Let's get it trending. Okay.
Cracker Nation. Six. Well, you were the one who brought this to my attention. And as Red Shirt said, you already had a few takes about it on Twitter. So what's your take on that? Or she stepped away for a few minutes. I think she said BRB. So we will get back to Six on this, but let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. We got Mr. Buttcrack Media who says, I buy another drink for Mikey.
Oh,
and hail to the crew.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're gonna get a little tip. You're gonna get a little bit tipsy.
And hold on, I wasn't ready again. I didn't see that one. Hold on. Let me get dressed. All right.
While you're doing that, Troy Pacelli says, I want Cagney and Lacey, but with blokes. We did get that. Wasn't that called The Other Guys or whatever it was? Or what was the one with Will Ferrell? Yeah. And then John Phillips also says, why not Cagney and Lacey? Exactly. Mech 1164. So we get a male version of Cagney and Lacey. Do we get a male version of Cagney
No,
and
you
Lacey?
get a trans version of Cagney and Lacey.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's next.
Yeah. So thank you guys, and Troy Pacelli also as well is up next, but I got them all out of order there. For when Six comes back, she's gonna be like, "What the heck is going on?" Oh, Mikey's got to be big screen. There we go.
I'm getting lit already. That first one was on an empty stomach, and the second one's gonna be on a stomach with only tequila in it. Wow. Yeah. Maybe I'm not that Mexican.
Well, Shum says this about you.
What?
I find it hard to unite behind a guy who keeps Pepto in his fridge.
Hey, I had food poisoning for 3 days. That was the third bottle I went through in 3 days. I put a video up on my YouTube channel about my refrigerator, and yeah, I still have half a bottle left. I went through 2.5 bottles in 3 days.
So yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody's interested in that. We'll get back to that when Six gets back here, though. Whoop, I gotta make everybody back to normal size. Nikki D sends in 5 and says, have you seen the THR article reporting the content cutbacks for Star Wars and MCU. Apparently, only Loki Season 2 and Secret Wars will be released this year. Yeah, at the top of the show, we also got asked about that. And I think we're going to talk about this tomorrow on the morning show, if I have to take a guess. So we're not going to get too deep into this, but I'll let you guys comment on this a little bit. But yeah, this is the article where that comes from. And of course, this is coming from Bob Iger saying at the big old Bob Iger Suckfest, where they were, saying we're going to cut back on shit. So do you guys believe in that or not? Let's start with Mikey. Do you think what do you think, or actually not so much believe in it. What do you think, what Nikki D is asking out here is basically, what do you think about it? The cutbacks and all that business is what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Well, they've got to cut 5.5 billion in total cuts. They've announced that over 3 billion will be from content creation. And the biggest thing that they've spent money on, if we look at their losses financially, where have the losses been, Tom? They've been number one in Disney Plus, which means their content spending. And because the infrastructure spending was done pretty much in the first year or two that they had the implementation rolled out. It's not like they're still doing the tech at this point. So it's content of Disney Plus and spending money on these shitty ass movies that don't ever make any money. And if they do, they break even. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and Star Wars has been dead now for years.
Dead.
Marvel is really the one that's costing them money, if you ask me. That's the funny part about
costing money
this.
in Disney Plus because those series may have sucked. They weren't cheap to make. They weren't cheap, right, Tom?
No, we were told their budgets are on level with the movies. So those are basically shows that are shot at the same budget levels as the movies. So
and you've got no revenue coming in to offset that because this whole thing about Disney Plus subscriptions is a fucking financial fucking fraud. The problem is Disney and Iger specifically looked at the Netflix stock valuation, said he wanted one too, and then that motherfucker went and borrowed a bunch of money to, and rang up the debt and put this bullshit Disney Plus out, which is not built to last. I will be in shock if Disney Plus is built to last over the long term.
Yeah, I agree. CC, as Nikki D is asking here, I don't know how much you know about this, but are you surprised to hear about this? Same question, basically.
I'm not necessarily surprised after hearing about the financial cutbacks, but what I've been thinking about it is that, when I watched Captain Marvel, more than Brie Larson or any of that, what really stuck out to me about that movie was how cheap the production value was. Like when you think about the final set piece on this on the spaceship, it looks like it could have been built for $10,000 in somebody's backyard. And at first, I really thought, okay, well, maybe they just put all of their talent onto Endgame, because there's only so much talent to go around. You look at old television shows, sometimes a mistake they would make is they do spin-offs, right, and split their talent. So all the shows would suffer because of it. And at first I thought, okay, that's probably what's going on here. That the B crew got on to Captain Marvel. But then that cheap production value has continued post-Endgame. And whether or not they have more shows or less, they got to figure out whatever has cheapened the production of of these shows and these movies, whether that's finding new talent or whatever actually caused it.
Interesting take, CC. And Dustin, what do you think?
I think they will. I mean, like, just as a personal experience, like, I know we get so backlogged and behind on what we want to watch that we'll forget what we want to watch. The new shiny thing comes out and we go, okay, we'll start that. And then we never get back to the other shows. I mean, because how much time you have to watch something is limited, and you've got like 10 hours for each season or whatever it is, 8-10 hours. And there's so many streaming services now. There's what 15 or 20 streaming services now. How can everybody keep up with all that, right? And let alone that, like, your people are hemorrhaging money. If you're trying to pay for 15 to 20 streaming services, people may pay for 3, and they're going to cycle through. They're going to have Disney Plus for a month, Netflix for a month. They're going to have whatever to kind of get through whatever backlog they have. So obviously these people aren't going to make consistent money like they used to with the cable model.
That's a point that's consistently made here too. Yeah, the cable model has worked better for everybody at the end of the day than the streaming model does, regardless. Red Shirt, you surprised by this news that they're going to be cutting back and only releasing Loki season 2 Secret Wars, and I think Mandalorian is also going to be released this year too, so but
yeah, no, I'm not surprised, because Andor, I think, is probably the one of the Star Wars series that anybody has had anything good to say about. The rest of them have been not particularly well received. They're hemorrhaging money on them. They're not bringing in I find it hard to believe that what they're putting on, the new stuff they're putting on Disney Plus, is bringing them a lot of new subscribers. And as far as I know, that's their revenue model. People sign up, and they haven't gotten rid of the included with offerings. So I said I was worried about this. So I was saying that Disney had 2 ways to go after the end of Mandalorian season 2. They could either recognize the positive feedback they got and the huge fan reaction they got the end of that series, but they could just double down on their messaging and using it as a platform. And they did double down. They fired Gina Carano. They started coming out with stuff that, they did Boba Fett and they renamed the spaceship Slave One. Oh, can't call it that. That's politically incorrect. I mean, they did all these stupid things, and they just kept pushing Star Wars fans away. And they're doing it with Marvel fans, because the last several Marvel movies have been, not been great. The best Marvel movie was actually a Sony movie, No Way Home.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not surprised.
With,
yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I think it's going to get a lot worse before if it ever gets better, because they brought back the guy that caused most of the problems in the first place.
Yeah, that's a good point. 6, now that you're back, what's your take on this Star Wars business and MCU business?
Well, Nikki's super chat is the apparently only Loki season 2 and Secret Wars will be released this year. I'm assuming that Nikki D is referring to Marvel, because Star Wars has.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's the least of Mando, and I think
Ahsoka.
Is Ahsoka still coming this year?
According to this article. That's why I was like, what is going, because I read this article earlier today, and then the super chat confused me. And so, but yeah, like reading from the article, on top of season 3 of Mandalorian, shows expected to hit the streaming service this year include Ahsoka, and the John Watts produced Skeleton Crew. So I was a little bit off kilter. They need to slow the roll. They've been churning out shows. As much as I loved WandaVision, but they're just cranking them out like a gumball machine, and some of those shows they're stale before they're even released. So I think they need to slow down. And I agree with Cece about the production value.
Yeah,
it's kind of crappy.
Yeah, considering the amount of money that's being spent on them, it's kind of hard to argue with that.
Yeah, but it's also with Star Wars, we're kind of used to Star Wars movies. Right. And then as far as the TV shows, we have the animation, which I don't know enough about animation to compare a theater quality animated movie and a TV quality animated movie. I'm not really a cartoon kind of person unless it's Star Wars or Looney Tunes. And so, but I can't help but compare Star Wars TV shows to Star Wars movies. So of course they're going to look like, they got the stuff at the garage sale.
Well, the only difference used to be between a theatrical animated film and a television animated project. Doesn't matter anymore, because that was before the days of digital. And that was because back then it would be the difference if you're doing a theatrical release, you would animate it at 24 frames a second. So that means 24 pictures had to be made per, second. As opposed to when they do it on television, they would shoot it on the 2s, which means they would actually do 12 frames per second but it's 2 frames were exactly the same each time, so like that was the only difference back then. Now there is no difference. I mean, I know you're talking about the Star Wars itself as what we compared to what we see, and I mean the shows, The Mandalorian for the most part, and Andor and a few of the others. I mean, production wise, as far as Star Wars, yeah, they're fairly on the level, I guess you would say, as the movies, but that's not even the point. They're just not on the level fun wise or entertainment wise or story wise.
Well, yeah, they're buying their sets and their props and their costumes at a garage sale, and they're also buying their scripts.
Unfortunately, yeah. And again, like that's coming from the Star Wars side of things, which Star Wars has suffered longer. But I think the bigger problem, as we're kind of pointing out here, is basically this, and that is Marvel. And Marvel is a big feather in the Disney cap right now that is suffering horribly. You know, and I share that graph constantly for a reason, because it just goes to show you as to what, like, was it Dustin or Redshirt? One of y'all said was talk about how, you know, basically, you know, outside of Spider-Man, they failed. Well, that's true, because they don't get to keep all that money, even though Marvel Studios makes the Spider-Man movies and then delivers them to Sony. Sony keeps like 60% of the cash. And you take away the Spider-Man films, and this is where the Marvel Universe has been setting since Endgame. And it's not good. That's way down. That's actually worse than the Star Wars numbers were. So yeah, I have a feeling we'll talk a lot more about that tomorrow morning. But we have some other super chats on deck here, so let's see what they have to say. Shoom says, I find it hard to unite behind a guy that keeps Pepto in his fridge. We got that one already, but thank you, Shoom. Mega J says, come to Hollywood, where we never learn the right lessons. Yeah, well, this is the other thing, Six. We were just talking about the Starsky and Hutch reboot before you got back here, and I wanted to grab your reaction to this, because you're the one who actually brought this to my attention.
Well, my mom's already watched the show that they're making. It was called Cagney and Lacey, which I know everybody's making that reference. I never watched Starsky and Hutch. I never actually watched Cagney and Lacey. I watched my mom watch it. I
see.
I have no use for this. It's going to be lame. It's going to be Ghostbusters 2016 on TV.
Yeah.
That's the quality that we're going to get.
Yeah. Troy Pacelli wants Cagney and Lacey with blokes. Yeah, but we already have plenty of those. We got that one. We got this one. And now we're up to this one, which is Morgan, who has been a member for 18 months at the minimum effort puppy level. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is wrong with keeping Pepto in the fridge? Because my dad used to keep Pepto in the fridge.
It was a joke because he was drinking. I have no idea.
Okay.
Because I think it's,
Sorry,
I think it's insinuating that Mikey's a wuss. No, you're fine. I think it's insinuating that Mikey's a wuss. If I'm wrong, Shoom, correct.
Have you ever seen Mikey?
What?
I don't know. Jump out a window.
What? Wait, hold on. That is not the proof of why I'm tough. I'm tough because I do jujitsu.
Survived, didn't you?
No, I do jujitsu, lightsabers. I'm a tactical shooting guy.
You do that to compensate, maybe.
I saw a video of you getting your hand tapped with a lightsaber, and you squealed like a girl.
Wait a minute. Hold on. First of all, that's not fair.
It might have been Tron.
I didn't have my lightsaber fighting gloves on. Wow, that sounded even more wussy. Next super chat.
No, you're just weird. That's what he said it meant. But yeah, good enough. We got this one from Morgan King. Thank you again. Action Com. Get ready, Michael.
What?
Cannonball it. Mikey, cannonball time.
I don't know what a cannonball is. What is that?
Drink. Just drink another drink.
What?
Yeah, they're trying to get you drunk.
All right, this is it, though.
I think they like spicy Mikey.
This is the... What do you mean spicy? I'm kind of in a mood tonight. Can you tell?
Yeah, you get like really like... You say motherfucker a lot when you're getting drunk.
Okay, I'll stop. I think it's
no, I don't care. I just noticed it earlier. You're just like, yeah, that's like the 5th time he said it now.
Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, peaceful Mexican Iron Man. Where's the glass go?
Yes, and this is a reference to Caddyshack.
The cannonball is? I didn't know what a cannonball was. I know
it's
what
reference to Caddyshack. Cannonball it.
I thought Mikey was going to run out his back door and jump in his pool.
That's what I thought it was.
Actually, if I remember right, isn't the cannonball from Caddyshack? It's he smokes a hit of the weed and then he drinks and then he smokes again and then he hits another drink.
Hello, I have now put on my new persona. This is polite, gentlemanly Mexican Iron Man. There shall be no more foul language from this point on the show forward. I, however, will embrace the tequila. I shall love the tequila. I shall slam the tequila, but I shall do so without profanity. For I am gentleman Mexican Iron Man.
Oh, you're going to kill this man. All right, we need to back off a little bit on the syrup.
No more.
All right. No more, he says. No mas.
That's it. No more.
No mas. Mecha J says, come to Hollywood where we never learn the right lessons. I think we got that one already, but thank you again, Mecha J. Walter Tomaszewski says, is AMC or other chains circling the drain? Not that I know of at the moment. I know the one chain out of the UK was having some issues, but unless there's something else going on that I haven't heard about.
AMC is trying to implement that new seat selection where they're charging more per which seat you choose.
I don't know how well that's going to work, but because I'm kind of of two minds on that. We'll have to see.
Well, if I get a captain's chair with a sliding tray and somebody comes and takes a drink order and brings me my food, I'll pay more for a movie ticket.
Well, I mean, I've come from the day and age where it used to be first come, first serve. You get there early just so you can make sure you get the seat you want.
Right.
But then again, I mean, it's kind of like how it is with concerts and stuff. I get it. And going to the actual theater when you go to like see a play, you pay a little bit more for the premium, better seats in the house. And in this case, I can see on a weekend of an opening weekend in an IMAX theater or what have you. There's people who probably would pay a little extra to get the better seats in the house if it's a more in demand film. So we'll have to see how it works out for them. But no, I don't think it's because they're circling the drains. I just think they're trying to find ways to maximize revenue. Will S says, if we find out who Iger's Dami Mommy is, we can change the future of Disney movie, TV, and streaming output for the better. You know it's true. Maybe. Does he have a Dami Mommy or a Dami Daddy? We don't know. That's a good question. Daryl Brewer's been a member for 18 months of the Maximum Effort Puppy level. Thank you so much. And speaking of Maximum Effort Puppies, we got a new one. Jeremy Hambry, thank you so much. And you get a sticker. Let's see here. We got a Maximum Effort Puppy just for you. I got to find it.
Six, do you hear Tom tunneling or no?
Is there something wrong with my audio?
There you go. Now it's good.
Okay. I was curious about that because there's been a lot of issues since the updates. So, yeah. I'm a robot.
Not anymore.
People didn't know. No, I mean, in real life, that's how I don't sleep. I got updates.
Go, 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 go. Oh, go, little guy. And strut.
And there's your Maximum Effort Puppy. Now, the next order of business was the main order of business I wanted to talk about today. Now, I got to give everybody context for this. I don't know how everybody feels about spoilers. I know.
Roboting.
Oh, man.
I don't hear anything from here.
You don't?
Is it
Sounds
just
good
you?
here.
Okay,
then maybe it's just me.
Mike.
All right.
Maybe
Hold
it's
on.
just you, Mike.
Let me go out and come back. I'll be right back.
Okay, good. Because hopefully
Could
it's
be
not
the
my
tequila.
PC. Could be the tequila.
Yeah.
All right. So some context for what's going on here. I know not everybody's a fan of spoilers in one way or another. Oh, well, let's grab this real quick before we get into this. Mega Wing Zero says, Ghostbusters 2016 keeps being released with different actors and different titles. Disney and Marvel has made it the only movie they keep remaking. You're not wrong, Mega Wing Zero. And that's when I looked at this. Oh, Mikey must be having net issues. When I looked at this story, I'm like, is this like a story from 2015 that's getting recycled or something? I couldn't believe it. That I was looking at it in 2023. They're still doing gender swapping like they think it's going to fucking work somehow. Okay. Yekno, did I sound robot-y or was it just for Mikey? I think it was just for Mikey. We're going to go with just for Mikey. Okay, so the topic at hand here I was bringing up. People I know are not normally a big fan of spoilers. When you get something spoiled, it's kind of a bummer. You know, nobody likes it, but it happens from time to time. But at some point, you know, you got to avoid them by staying offline or doing what have you to not get spoiled on a Star Wars project or an MCU project or anything like that. But it turns out some major spoilers have recently come out from the latest Scream movie. Now, I'm sure a lot of you don't give a shit about Scream. I used to care. I don't really care anymore. But even if I did care, I think I would make it my responsibility to not get spoiled on it. But hey, this individual thinks it's such a bad thing that they think that, quote, whatever bitch leaked a video of the Scream 6 killer reveal needs to be prosecuted. How long is this shit gonna go with no consequence? Times like this makes me regret my choice to root myself in online movie discourse and wish I could just unplug and enjoy movies again. And my friend Disfather quoted it and wrote out, bro, it's time to get off the internet and go outside. And I'm like, yeah, right? Nobody cares. This has been a problem since social media has been a thing. If you don't want to get spoiled on an upcoming movie, stay off the internet. You know, a day or two before, maybe even a week or more before release. Then some idiot didn't like my response to that and said, this is a fucking month before the movie releases. In fact, 34 days before it was set to release. Your point falls apart when you take into consideration this movie isn't due out for 22 days. And I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. But okay, who cares? My response to that was, who fucking cares? Scream 5 sucked. So will this one. If you don't seek it out and you don't get spoiled. Someone had to actually go out of their way, and this is true. Last night, I didn't know about this till last night. Somebody had to go out of their way to tell me that it got spoiled. So maybe avoid spoilers a few weeks ahead of time. It's not the world's responsibility to safeguard you from spoilers. And this line right here is the reason why we're having this discussion right now. So I'm curious how you guys feel about this. This is kind of where I've gotten to this. I mean, we do our best as a show, you know, knowing there's hundreds, if not thousands of people watching at a time. We try not to spoil things if we can avoid it, right? But sometimes I think it's just, we got to take that Band-Aid off and go, look, you're just going to have to deal with it. Sooner or later, shit's going to get spoiled. Either you avoid it yourself personally, take the own responsibility, or quit bitching when other people do it for you. But I don't know. Maybe there's other points of view on this. I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Now, Six, when I brought this up to you before, you specifically said you did not want to give your opinion until we got on the show. So I'm curious to hear what you got to say first. Let's start with you. Unless she stepped away again. Okay, she said be right back. Sorry about that. Mikey, what's your feeling on this whole spoiler?
As someone who actually goes to the movies, and I say that with a bit of a cocky, arrogant tone because I go to 40, 50 movies a year, easy. In live, like I go to the theater. Sometimes I'll go on a Saturday and I'll see 2 movies, but I'm smart enough to know that if I don't want to see the ending, I stay away from Twitter so it doesn't show up on my feed. And I know on YouTube, I know where to go and when to go. So I just think this whole controversy is just absolutely silly. I mean, if you don't want to get spoiled, then just go see the movie. Go see it the first week and safeguard yourself.
That's a good point. CC, what's your take on this?
I draw the line at thumbnails. I mean, if you're gonna scroll the Twitter feed, if you're gonna scroll the Twitter feed, that's on you. It may come up, you may get spoiled. But if you're gonna put a spoiler in a YouTube thumbnail or otherwise, that's where I just mute a channel out forever. I'm like, I don't want to see that. That's crossing the line for me. But I also appreciate that everyone has a different kind of opinion on where they stand on spoilers. Some people don't care, some people care a lot, and I can appreciate that. The only thing I would really add to it is that the truly great stories, like when I think of my favorite movies and my favorite video games, yeah, you can only do it the first time once. But if it's genuinely great, then you're going to want to watch it 100 times and it won't matter. Like The Princess Bride. It doesn't matter how much you could memorize the entire script and you're still gonna enjoy it every time.
That's a good point, CC, because there was a time between the really cool 70s trailers and when they finally got their shit together in the 80s and how to put a trailer together. And when all they would do is just slap together scenes from the movie. And in some cases, they would completely spoil the entire movie in the trailers. There's a really piss poor Gremlins trailer out there that came out after the movie came out that was like, who put this shit together? The Batman trailer is a good example of that. Like, it's just scenes slapped together. And I know that's on purpose because they had to slap it together, but that's just a great example of what I'm talking about. But yeah, Dustin, how do you feel about this?
In the context of like fandom, it's more of an etiquette thing for me. It's like you shouldn't go out of your way to spoil it for people within, like
right.
a few months or whatever. But I mean, it is a person's responsibility to avoid something being spoiled if it means something to you. But in the context of this Twitter thing here with this person, I'm like, dude, first world problems, man. Come on. Like, I mean, I get that it's like it's upsetting. Like, you don't want that movie you've been looking forward to for 2 years to get spoiled. But like, relax, bro. Like, it's not like someone should be prosecuted for it. Like, throw them in jail, throw away the key. No. I don't know.
I mean, I didn't even want to entertain that part of it much, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it just gets silly. Like, people take it so seriously. It's like, I know that this is important to a lot of people, and fandom is huge to a lot of people. I mean, look what we do here. Like, we talk about this stuff. So, I mean, obviously it's a big deal, but at the end of the day, like, relax. I mean, it's not going
to cure cancer.
Like you said, go outside or read a book or, something. Shit.
Right. No, and I think it's a little redonkulous. And, like we said, I think we've all been there where we've had something spoiled, but we got to look at the definition. Is it really spoiled? What is it really doing? Like, if you find out something ahead of time, I don't remember a time where I didn't know that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. I didn't get that reveal to me. It just was kind of, it was always that way. I was born the year that Empire Strikes Back came out. So, I lived in a world where that was the case. So, well, I also lived in a world where everybody knew that the Planet of the Apes was Earth too. Sorry, go ahead, Dustin.
Like, wasn't like one of the biggest first thing about a spoiler? Wasn't that the crying game?
Kinda. I mean, I remember the Darth Vader thing was kind of a big thing. I mean, people talk about it, but I don't know. I wasn't
well, but yeah, by the time I was alive,
then, yeah. Not a thing anymore. But I think, the crying game is the first time I remember. But even then, without the internet, like, you really had to go out of your way to find out what the spoiler was. And unless you saw something like Ace Ventura, where you would have to have seen the movie to get the joke and somebody had to explain it to you. I mean, I think at that point, everybody kind of got it, right? You're either going to see the movie and know what the hell it was about, or you just didn't care and you just like, tell me what the fuck it's about. I don't care. Right. No, but yeah, you're right. Outside of, cause the next time that basically I remember, you're right, the crying game, the next time I remember a spoiler thing being a thing was episode 1 of Star Wars. And I remember it being kind of ridiculous then. I'm like, what is there to spoil? We already know where this is going. I don't understand the secrecy surrounding this film. Like,
we've already seen 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, we already know. And that's probably a good place for you to come in here, Six. And you said you had some things you wanted to say about this. I brought it up that you didn't want to say before the show. So I'm curious what you have to say about spoilers.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned episode 1, because that's my first memory of trying to avoid spoilers. And I completely disagree with you on that. I wanted to avoid everything for episode 1. And I remember being spoiled by who Padme and Amidala were on a 2-liter of Diet Pepsi in the grocery store. I don't know how many weeks before the movie came out that I went into a full media blackout, but I didn't watch anything. I didn't turn on the TV. Didn't pick up a magazine. I bought a bunch of magazines if it was on the cover, but I'd never cracked them open.
Right. I don't remember that being the big deal. I think the big deal was when the soundtrack came out and they found that Qui-Gon dies right away in the first movie. That was the big thing that people were bitching about.
Yeah, but I mean, what's a big deal to you is maybe not a big deal to me, and vice versa. So I didn't want to know anything, but it was my responsibility to keep myself away from everything. The only time I ever blamed anybody, quote unquote, blamed somebody for spoiling a movie for me or attempting to, was The Force Awakens. Somebody messaged me and I did the same thing before The Force Awakens. I went into a full media blackout a few weeks before the movie came out. And once I'd seen the movie, I, signed back onto Facebook, and somebody had messaged me. I didn't know who this kid was. Messaged me and told me that Han Solo died. And he sent it before I would have seen the movie. And I thought, you're an asshole. But I did the right thing. I did my due diligence. I didn't go on Facebook. I didn't go on any kind of social media because I wanted to avoid spoilers. So I think that for the most part, it's up to the person who's trying to avoid them to stay away from any place where you might, if you're trying to avoid getting hit by a car, you stay on the sidewalk.
Right.
So don't walk in the middle of the road if you're trying to, avoid that.
And that's a fair point too. And I think it was Dustin who brought up too about, it's more of a problem in fandom circles, right? And that's kind of where you're coming from too. And that's fair, but also have the problem. You can walk on the sidewalk every day of your life, and someday somebody might just,
drive up
come
on
over the sides, drive up on the curb and hit your ass.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where spoilers.
Your house.
Well, and that's the thing is sometimes spoilers are going to hit you no matter what you can do. And I think that's a good analogy for the whole situation. And you know what? You can't let it be just like if you were to get hit by that car and manage to survive, you can't let it be a life-ending situation, right? You can't let that be the thing that stops you from going to see the movie. Because I like you, I was on the other side.
I like you too, Tom.
I was like you. I meant what I was trying to say with the Empire, and I do like you, of course. But with like the whole Phantom Menace thing, like I had the book because it came out like a week before the movie came out. I didn't crack into it for that very fucking reason. Like I want to see the movie as a whole without any spoilers. Mm-hmm. And I did get kind of upset. I'm like, that's pretty fucking stupid. You could have titled it anything else but that on the soundtrack, especially knowing you're going to release this soundtrack the Tuesday before the movie fucking comes out. Like you had to have the track being called Qui-Gon Dies. Yeah. Or Qui-Gon's Funeral or whatever the fuck it was called. It's like, that's pretty on the fucking nose there. You could have called it a lost friend, a lost, something or other to where you could like, that is where I can understand where you're coming from. See, now that is a little different. See, because that's not somebody coming up to you and going, hey, guess what? I saw the new Star Wars movie already and Han Solo dies in it. Like you were saying, that's an actual released thing from them where they should have known better. And with the way Lucas was acting with this whole thing, and I'm not trying to dump on George Lucas, but they should have caught that ahead of time and like, you know what? We should probably not call it that on the soundtrack, because it's probably going to give away a little too much of the storyline. But then at that point, that was still kind of a new thing for me. And that's kind of, I think what, whether we brought up the crying game earlier too, was like, spoilers have never really been a thing. Well, that was the thing is that was the last time we could remember like spoilers being a thing, right? Like, and like, that's where I said is up until episode 1. And the funny thing is it wasn't even episode 1 was the movie that came out that year that I think somebody could have spoiled for you and ruined the movie for you. It was The Matrix. Thank God nobody spoiled The Matrix for me before I saw it, or The Sixth Sense a few years later. Because even though that movie has very little rewatchability, if I'd have known either one of the spoilers going into The Matrix or Sixth Sense, I don't think I would have enjoyed the films. That's one of the few times I can think about it. Maybe not with The Matrix, but Sixth Sense, definitely. The Matrix, I think I still could have been entertained by. But Sixth Sense, I think once you know that, like I've tried to watch The Sixth Sense since I've known the ending, and I'm like,
I've never
kind of stupid. It's just like, you're like, it's just a boring movie up at that point. There's a few bits in it that are kind of cool, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody else.
I think I watched that movie on cable and I just was dumbfounded. Like, what? He's dead? I don't know how I didn't get
spoilers.
It was way. Oh, are you?
No, I know.
Joking? Okay. I don't know how I avoided that little factoid about. And I wanted to address something some people were saying in the chat. For me, when I talk about spoilers, I mean anything that I don't want to know. Character names, what size shoe they were, anything that I personally don't want to know until I see it in the theater, for me is a spoiler. And I understand that like spoilers are like big plot points and that kind of thing. So
actually, I remember one other time where spoilers were a thing other than the crying game before episode 1, Terminator 2, because it got spoiled by, I believe, somebody in the media that Arnold was going to play a good Terminator. And that wasn't meant to get out. I don't know if you guys remember that, but if you go back and look at the early teaser trailer and stuff like that, and the way the movie is set up itself, you're supposed to think that Arnold's the bad guy until you realize, oh shit, he's not the bad guy. But then that got out early, so then the trailers started changing the form. Because like the first teaser trailer and stuff like that, it's just set up to make you think, oh shit, the Terminator's back. Right? Like that's it. Like you don't know anything about this other Terminator and shit until later on and stuff. Like, because even if you watch the movie now knowing that, thinking that, if you watch it, it makes, especially considering they make the T-1000 a cop, right? Because they don't really show him kill anybody on screen per se. It's kind of off screen, right? He's kind of like Kyle was doing in the first movie. So watch it again with knowing that, and you realize, oh shit, that's kind of was the plan. So that got spoiled way before the movie came out.
That movie was one of those movies where like I was like the opposite of trying to be spoiled. I was trying to soak up anything in everything I could about that movie when I found out it was coming out.
See, Dustin,
Like-
that's the way I was about every movie though before that I wanted to be, know anything about. That's where I didn't like the first concept of spoilers with me in the Phantom Menace 6. That's where it really kind of blew my mind that people actually gave a shit. Like,
Well, that's because you hated the movie.
No, I didn't at first. Like my point, still don't hate it. That's pretty
Yes,
harsh
you do.
words. No, if
Okay.
anything, if I hate any of the prequels, it's episode 2. Like, I don't even hate that. I hate the ending. That's because Yoda should not be using a lightsaber. But anyhow, that's a whole different debate. But no, I would get the magazines, like you said, and I would get the novels and stuff and the comic adaptations and everything. The shit. We had the Topps cards as kids, right? The bubblegum cards.
Yeah.
Those things
Yeah.
would spoil a whole fucking movie on you. You get the whole entire story in a set of 88 cards and 10 stickers. Like,
Because I was in middle school when that came out, and I was all over it. I was such like, I think that was like the height of me being an actual like movie nerd. Like, I don't think a movie's came out since then that I've been that nerdy about.
I was nerdy about a lot of movies. Like, but I mean, I even went into like Ninja Turtles pretty much knowing the whole story because I would, oh, there's Culture. He's not on the show because Mikey's here.
Racially motivated.
But I don't know. I thought this would be an interesting discussion. I didn't expect
That was
everybody to really
sexist, too.
agree with me, and sexist. That's true. I didn't expect everybody to necessarily agree with me to a point, but it does sound like we're all kind of on the same page here with this thing.
Yeah, I only have one observation from this series of tweets, Tom. I want to know what kind of person thinks that someone who spoiled a movie for them should be prosecuted by the government. I mean, come on, can't you responsibility for yourself? And just quickly, because I got to go in a few minutes, but I mean, you named one movie, Tom, The Sixth Sense. I'd say Shutter Island and The Usual Suspects. If somebody had spoiled the ending of those movies for me, I wouldn't be able to watch them with the same level of suspense and interest. And I haven't watched either of those since either. Same with me for A Sixth Sense. Haven't watched it. But for the most part, spoilers don't drive me crazy, but I do try and stay away. So, for example, I got 3 different people I wrenched for who are all doing streams of Hogwarts Legacy. And I'm not watching, and I've already explained to them I'm not modding those streams because I'm waiting for it to come out in July for the Switch, that console that I have, rather than buying all sorts of stuff to get it now. So I'm just going to stay away from Hogwarts Legacy streams so I don't get all of the gameplay and all of the places and things that they do spoiled for me. I'm going to try and learn it on my own. But that's what I do, and I do the same thing you guys have said. I'll stay away from spoilers. I appreciate it when somebody says spoilers ahead, and I'll just mute the video and keep wrenching or whatever I'm doing. But it is a bigger deal for the fandom, and it is a bigger deal now that you're watching live streams and stuff on YouTube. 6, that bottle of soda was an ambush that should never have happened. That's just egregious. And that person in marketing should at least, they shouldn't be prosecuted, but they should be fired.
Well, that's along the same lines as the soundtrack in a way, but yeah. No, those are great points. And thank you for being here, Redshirt. I don't know how soon you got to check out on us here, but yeah, this is the original tweet you're talking about that kind of sparked the whole thing to begin with.
Yeah, that's like a first world problem.
Yeah, like,
oh boy,
on, seriously.
Yeah. Well, actually, Tom, thank you very, very much for sending me the invitation, and I think that this is a good ending point. I do have to get going, so I'll say so long to everybody. Take care, everybody in the chat. It's been a pleasure.
Do you have any streams or anything coming up you want to plug?
I think Tuesday is going to be a Toxic Tuesday, but I don't remember what the movie is with 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser.
I believe it's Showdown in Little Tokyo.
That's correct.
That's the one. All right. Well, I will be there, assuming I can find that movie. So everybody take care. Thank you again.
Bye, Redshirt.
Bye now.
Take care, brother.
Later,
all
Redshirt.
right.
Well, you know what? I have one more spoiler thing that I wanted to say.
Sure.
I was at a convention. Do you remember the show Highlander? This is how long ago it was.
Oh,
of
course.
Yes. I love Highlander, even though Andre's never seen it.
The TV show.
He finally saw the movie though, Mikey.
I was at a convention, and I don't know if it was the show finale but there was a main character died. And I was at this room party, and the episode had already aired. I don't know if it had aired in Canada or had aired in the US, but not in Canada. And it's an international con. People from all over the world were there. And we're sitting there and we're watching old episodes of Highlander, and we're talking about Highlander. And I made some comment about how this character died. And there was somebody there who was dressed up like the Adrian Paul character, Duncan MacLeod. And he's carrying this sword, like he's an uber fan, and he did not know that this main character had died, and he was heartbroken that I had spoiled it, because I guess somebody had a videotape of the episode, and we were going to all get together in this conference room and watch the episode together. And I assumed everybody had already seen it, and we were just going to get together later and watched it. And I felt so badly for what I had done to him. So I just maybe that kid telling me that Han Solo died was karma coming back at me for that. But I would feel terrible about spoiling something for someone. I would never want to do that on purpose, unless they were a dick to me, like maybe culture.
Yeah. And I'm not like saying that people should like just go out there and be like, spoil this and spoil that. I'm not saying that either.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not in the least. I mean, I go out of my way. Like I said, we all go out of our way if we review something to make sure that because we know we have a group of people watching us, and somebody might not want to know certain things, and we do our best. Just like yesterday morning when we did the whole thing with Ant-Man, you know, we talked about it first without spoilers, and then we threw up the banner so that people would know. And again, I respect that, totally do, and have no issues with that. And I'm not saying anybody should be a dick and deliberately go out there and spoil something. But like with your analogy about walking on the sidewalk, sometimes accidents happen, and we've all been that person on the other side of that too. I'm sure everybody on this panel may have experienced the same thing at one point or another. I know I have several times where I accidentally spoil something for somebody and I didn't realize it, but it's like, is that really my responsibility then? Especially if, you know, somebody's entering a conversation, or like you said, at a fan event dressed as one of the characters. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're at fault for being under the assumption that this person should have already known.
Yeah, I should have been. This was major. This was a major one, and knowing that it had either released in Canada and not in the US, or in US and not in Canada, or something like that. I felt so bad though, because he was like an uber fan, and he was probably more heartbroken over the character dying. But I mean, this is like not pre-internet, but everybody having internet, I guess. So
Six, if you feel bad, I'll let you make it up to me.
Will you? Oh, thank you, Mikey.
You think you're so clever. That's what's funny about it.
What?
Nothing. I love you, Mikey.
He's a little bit clever.
He is a little bit clever sometimes. I take notes.
I'm the little Mexican train that tries hard. Like, I'm the little Mexican train that could.
You got to be clever to climb out a window.
This is true.
Hey, you zip it, buddy.
Well, you were asking him before the show what his safe word was, and I busted him. It's my husband's home.
Hey, that's not entirely accurate.
It's not inaccurate. Is that what you just said?
I said that's not entirely accurate.
Inaccurate?
That's not entirely accurate. Whatever.
I love you, Mikey.
Love you more.
We got Ironcaster here, who's been a member for a month at the maximum effort puppy level, and says, Mike,
what?
You need to see Sleepaway Camp. The ending is shocking. Speaking of spoilers, yeah, you don't want somebody to spoil that one before you see that one.
Never heard of it.
The original one. The original Sleepaway
Yes, the
Camp,
OG. Right? OG, yes.
Hold on. Looking up now. Sleepaway Camp. Enter.
Don't try to avoid spoilers on that one before you see it.
Stars Felissa Rose. Ooh, she's cute.
That was a good movie too.
It is.
Tells the
story. Is that a horror movie?
Don't read the synopsis.
1983 American slasher. Well, no wonder I didn't watch it. That was like a little wee blow.
Yeah, but don't read any of the synopsis because likely they will spoil the ending.
All right, Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, but isn't Tom kind of the king of giving away spoilers? How many times?
Yes.
When he's talking about a new movie or a new TV show, he'll say, "Not to give too much away," but. And then
when I say that, I'm going to.
Yeah,
exactly. When you hear Tom say Not to give too much away.
But when the butler did it and we find out, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But what's the statute of limitations of a spoiler? Like, how
That's a
long
good
should
question.
be out?
Great question.
You know what? Let's go around the panel and decide on that. What is the statute of limitation when anything is free game? Let's go around the panel. That's an interesting one.
Start with
TV
CC
show, movie
or
CC.
6.
Yeah, CC, please.
Well, I mean, the gold standard would be Luke, I am your father. I'll say that right out loud. Or in video games sense, Eris dies. I mean, there are. Well, like I think the legendary things, and once they've been out for a while, it's like, okay, you know what? That's just that's worldly knowledge. You can pretty much go to anywhere.
Are we talking about time frame?
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh,
a little bit, right? I mean, when Empire Strikes first came out, that would have been a big spoiler, but there. So I think there's a little bit of a time frame involved with that, but also I think there are certain spoilers that are such a part of just common knowledge at a point that they're not that you can't be held against you anymore for saying it, like the two I mentioned. But I mean, I wouldn't know exactly where to draw the actual line. I think time has a role to play. You don't want to spoil something like a week after it comes out. Give people time. But if it's been 6 months, if it's been a year, if it's if it's been really successful, especially, you have to just be able to talk about it.
Those are all good points. Yeah, Dustin.
I think once something usually like lands in streaming and it's been in streaming for a while, at least modern. I think before it was probably like once it hit VHS, like because it would take a year plus to hit VHS, maybe 2. But nowadays, I mean, things hit streaming services within a few months. I think
Right.
At that point, I think you should be good to go. I mean, I don't know. Some people just
that's
never
point.
talk about spoilers, right?
No, those are very valid points. Mikey, what do you think?
Shoot, I'm going to sound like an asshole. I was going to say 2 weeks out of the theater opening day.
Yeah, but you see everything in the theater too.
I guess you're right. Wait, what? What does that mean?
No, I mean, I get you. You want to talk about it all right away. You don't think to you in your world,
Yes.
everybody should be able to talk about it right away because you saw it right away. But yeah,
Right. And today's a huge
But
day for
his
me.
thing.
Go ahead, Dustin.
I was gonna say, like, so I mean, like the Mexican Iron Man's thing here is like, okay, if you are a person who knows it's in theaters and you're not going to go to the movies to see it, and you're going to wait for it to hit streaming or VOD or whatever, then that's on you. It doesn't matter if people are going to talk about it. That's gonna, if you're waiting extra time, then that's definitely on you.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think Tom's right too. Because I tend to see everything the first week, and usually never later than the second week if it's a major release or something I'm really interested in. Yeah, I don't have any patience or tolerance. I'm ready to talk about it, and let's go. That being said, today's a big day for me. This is the first time I haven't been there for like Marvel opening movie. Like I saw Shang-Chi when it opened. I saw Doctor Strange when it opened. This is the first time.
This is a rare occurrence for you. I can attest to that.
This is a huge rare occurrence because any other time I would have been like, because I finished work early, you know that. I went shopping and then I said I'm gonna, because I decided this morning when I got up, I'm like, look, I can either finish the work day and go watch a movie, or I can finish the work day, go shopping, and be on MEAD. And I chose MEAD over a Marvel movie release. And it's not that I don't love MEAD. I love MEAD. I love being with you, Tom. I love being with Six. I love being with the great guests that we have, like Dustin, CC, and all the others that show up. But I am always at the movies if it's a Thursday. Thursday and Monday are my movie going days. And the fact that I'm not there today tells you what Marvel has really did to me.
Yeah, that is telling. So Six, what do you think? What do you think the spoilers in the
I say movie
time period?
If Mikey's the asshole, then I'm the descending colon because I say a week for a movie in the theater, and a TV show 24 hours.
God, yeah, I love
pretty
you.
Straightforward.
Woman, I love you.
Well,
if you all are go ahead.
I mean, if you're standing at work and you haven't seen a movie yet and you hear people talking about it, just say, "Oh, don't say anything. Let me walk away." Tell people that, but you can't be sitting in a restaurant and, you know, not expect that you're going to hear something. That's how I feel. But I didn't go to see Ant-Man today because I'm sick. I didn't want to be.
Would you have gone if you weren't sick?
Yeah, I would have gone. Even after hearing it was a.
God, I tell you, though, listening to Andre's review and listening to Polly, and Polly loves everything.
Polly does love everything. Yeah, I think I talked with Tom about this. We were like, whoa, Polly loves everything.
I mean, next thing
Polly,
you know,
he has the point of view of like, he knows what kind of work goes into these things, and he knows people that work on a lot of these kind of projects. So and coming from somebody who's an actor and stuff like that himself, he finds it, you know, he tries to find the good in film usually. And if he can't find something good in it, then they're usually, that to me, like, that's one of those rare reviewers where I'm like, okay, if he can't find something good in it, then there's got to be something wrong with it.
Are you going to go see it this weekend?
Fuck no. I already made that choice. I can't
last
afford
week
it if I wanted
you
to,
said you were going to see it.
I was thinking about it, but then we already talked about it, so it's done. It's over with. Why? Yeah. I'll wait till it comes on Disney Plus in 2 weeks.
I think you should go see Cocaine Bear next week with me.
I probably will if I can afford it.
Can we review it? Because I'm going to go see it. Like, I don't care where I'm at. Even if I have to fly to Houston for a client, I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, we'll see what we can work out.
Okay.
Definitely.
I love talking about movies with you.
No, I agree with all you guys. I mean, this is a very good question, and I think that it's not something that everybody can agree on as far as like when it's proper. Because you're right, there's variables. Like CC made some great points about those type of movies we talked about already, where they're kind of ingrained in the ethos of, you know, everybody knows that Darth Vader is Luke's father and Planet of the Apes is actually Earth the whole time and shit like that. What we brought up already, you know, things like that. But I also try to avoid, like, if I'm talking to a young person and I know they probably aren't aware of all these things, I do try to avoid as much as possible. Like, I do try to take the individual I'm talking to into consideration. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if I'm talking to a young person and I'm saying, yeah, you should check out, you know, this movie, I will try to avoid any kind of obvious spoilers that most people probably know, just because I want to hear their natural reaction when they talk to me again. But at the same time, you know, when I'm talking to you guys, in most cases, there's been times where I've talked about a movie where, you know, I didn't realize I was spoiling something for somebody, but it's because they had never seen it before. But you're right. At this point, if you haven't seen a fucking movie like that, then what can I tell you if you're in this circle of friends, right? Like, sorry, the onus is on you. You know, if you haven't seen The Godfather. Yeah, exactly. If you haven't seen The Godfather or Jaws or something like that, then what can I tell you? You know, like, or Empire Strikes Back, right? 6, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you'll hear, like, on podcasts, they'll be talking about a 25-year-old movie and be like, spoiler alert. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, usually if I'm discussing a movie that old with circle of friends or whatever on like a show like this, and I say that, it's obviously in jest. But if I'm talking to, like I said, like a young person who's like, I do like my physical media show on Fanzine's channel with Greg and Runner, and Runner's a younger guy and he's in film school, and there's a lot of movies he has seen, there's a lot of movies he hasn't seen. So I do try to take that into consideration when I am talking about older films with him, because I want his natural reaction when he does see them, right? So like if I am talking about an older film, I don't automatically assume he's seen it. But he has seen a lot of older films that I am surprised with, so that's one of the reasons why with him I do take that into consideration. But again, that goes into taking the individual you're talking to into consideration. But even earlier, like with Mikey here, I want to hear his natural reaction to Sleepaway Camp. I don't want him to know the reveal. You know, like, that's the whole point. I want him to come back and go, what the fuck?
Is there something that happens at the end, you're saying?
Obviously.
Okay, I'm going to watch it this weekend.
All right. You should check it out. It's a fun film.
Okay.
Especially if you like old school slasher films. Okay. I know you're not the biggest horror person, but it's kind of a fun Friday the 13th kind of movie.
It's not like super scary, or I mean, it's not like super.
It's
scary,
more tongue in cheek anyway. Yeah. It's kind of a riff on like Friday the 13th films, basically.
Okay.
If you get my drift. Al Humphrey sends us a pear character punching in the air with a fist and bump written on his knuckles. Why couldn't it just say a pear giving you a fist bump? I do not know. But that is what it explains it as when 6 copies and pastes it in the private chat.
I'm gonna start editing it so you sound a little.
You don't
cooler
have
when you
to.
say
That
it.
I think it's funnier when they do that because I just want people to know I'm not saying that. It's what it's written as.
Yeah.
And they could just have that on, like, it should say that on screen, like Jesus Davila, and then underneath it should say a red box of popcorn.
Yeah.
Like that information is in there, so like I don't see why they can't just carry that through. At least we can't carry the picture. That's our problems on our end. Tiger Valley was lucky not to know anything about Terminator 2. Wow, I envy you. Because yes, that was a hell of an event for us when that came out. Action Com says, can we look at some Blood and Honey posters? Jesus. Oh, bother. How bad are they? You mean like movie posters?
I think that's what he wants to see.
Okay.
Or
I mean,
just
I don't know how
random.
many-
Like maybe Google Blood and Honey. See what pops up under images.
I mean, we talked about the new Blu-ray edition that's coming out yesterday on 4K2, I think, or whatever, but
Whoa,
I mean, it all
what's
pretty much
that?
looks
That's
mostly the
freaky.
same. This is that new Winnie the Pooh horror movie that came out.
What was the budget for this again?
Like under a couple $100,000.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's exactly what Hollywood needs to
Yeah,
do.
I'm not. Yeah,
That looks freaky
No.
to me, people.
It's gross.
it's kind of gross, but hey, they're gonna make some money. They're
'Cause
doing
it's
like
like-
limited Fathom
It looks
events
like
and
they.
shit.
It looks like they skinned a pig's face off.
Yeesh. Not my
Yeah.
kind of flick, Six. What say you?
Well, that's what came up under
I'm gonna
movie
skip
posters
this one.
Action Com. If there's some specific ones you want me to take a look at, just DM them to me on Twitter or something. All right, brother.
How are they not going
a-
to get sued for that?
Oh, it's public domain now.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's why Tigger's not in it.
Yeah, they can't have Tigger though, and they can't make him look or probably sound like the Disney version either. So me doing the voice is probably out. Oh, poo. Abdulio says Snape kills Dumbledore, the spoiler that broke fans. See, I wouldn't even know what the fuck that means because I'm not a Harry Pothead. I barely know that's a Harry Pothead reference because of the
You knew
Dumbledore
enough.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, like,
because
that
of the
that
name
spoiler hurt me a
Dumbledore.
little bit. I'll be honest.
well, I think the biggest that was like the big, like the small piece of the spoiler of that. It was the reason why he did it. It was the bigger spoiler. But,
Wasn't it in the book like years before the movie came out? Or
yeah. I mean, I read all the books too, but
Well, you can have book spoilers.
yeah, that was a big
Well,
thing.
Well, that's
when, like,
kind of
Harry
something
Potter
we
books
didn't
were
really
coming out.
talk about. Yeah, because I mean, books I think are a little different, right? Because it takes people a little longer. I mean, I never even gave my assessment on this. What I really think the time period is, and I guess I'll pop off of like with a book because like books, it takes people longer to read a book. I think you got to wait at least after the movie comes out with a book or 4 or 5 years because you know it can take some time for people to come across with a book. Now, movies though, I'm with you guys. I think it was Keto and was saying like basically once it hits video, it used to be back in the day. Once you get past that point of it being on video, cable, I think it's safe to talk about a movie for the most part. Like at that point, if you haven't watched it, it is in more than enough places that it's available that you can't bitch at me for spoiling something for me because you didn't make the effort to see it yet this long out, right? You know what I mean? You
We
had
should
more
have
than
done
enough
a
chances
poll.
to see it. You know, that's a good point, Sex. Let's do that. Let's make a poll. Where did I dropped the channel here. Oops. We
I
lost
got
a
another
viewer 'cause of me.
example actually.
Sure.
With remakes and
Mm-hmm.
video. This is a video game reference, but like with Final Fantasy VII,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII remake came out, and this can apply to movies and books and whatnot as well. But when you're going to remake something, the question becomes: are they going to do it the same way, or are they going to do something different? So obviously, in Final Fantasy VII, is Aerith dies. Spoiler alert.
Mhm.
Well, does she still die? Right, and that was a big point of conversation. But you have to be able to spoil the original story to have that conversation.
Right. So how should we word this poll? What are we asking,
We'll do it-
Six?
Is Mexican Iron Man correct or not?
No. That's not what we're asking. What Six?
How
Sorry.
many options do you get? 4?
I think you can add, I think, up to 4.
Yeah. So
Or
do
5.
1 week, 2
Okay.
weeks, a month,
How
6
long
months.
after a film is out is it okay to discuss spoilers? Okay, let's see. You said a week. Then I'm gonna put on video. Add option. I'll see. Well, we'll do okay. Instead of, we'll do a week, month on video, VOD, on streaming. And that's all we can ask. So there we go. Let's do that. That work?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think that's brilliant. Good
There
job.
we go. All right. We'll see what you guys think.
My recommendations, but that's okay.
Well, you said
I'm
week.
just
What was the other one?
kidding, Tom. I'm just kidding.
Well, I was trying to think week, month, and then I'm trying to think of different time periods. We only had 4 choices. So,
and we're talking about theatrical release movies, obviously.
yes, this is just for films. Yes. Maybe if we have time, maybe we'll do one for television, but I don't know if we'll have time. We're running late now. So Shanatsky says MEAD on film, more entertaining than these movies. Well, we hope that's the case, at least to entertain you.
Thank you, Shanatsky.
Yeah. Action Con says, would you consider pointing out Tom Hanks' girlfriend was cheating on him before the planet accident and Castaway? A spoiler.
I don't remember that.
I didn't know she was. Was she? I don't remember that.
Wait,
Was that not in the movie, or is that something?
Because it was like one of those movies I haven't seen in a long time. But wasn't he like a super workaholic for
Yeah.
FedEx, and then like so she was seeing somebody else?
That could have been. It's been. You're right. It's been like dust. I'm trying to remember the last time I seen that fucking
I'm gonna
movie.
ask Google.
I think I've only seen it like twice too. It's probably been
I
since it
saw
came out.
once. Yeah, once was enough.
I think I saw it in theaters, and then I had a video store when it came out, so I'm pretty sure I watched.
Oh my God, she
The
was having an
DVD.
affair with an oral surgeon.
That's right. Yes. Okay. Now you say that, I kind of remember that.
Wow.
Because that's right. Because the whole thing at the end, that's what it wraps around to, is that the chick that it's a chick that he ends up bringing the package to at the end, and they imply that they're like might have like a spark to romance there or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally remember that now. Yeah. I should watch that movie again. It's been forever. Mr. Tickle Trunk says Picard season 3 is its own self-contained, with 1 and 2 fixes. Send off to TNG, a real fan. 0 studio interference. Consider a watch so they learn. Well, I might check it out, and if I do, I will let you guys know what I think about it. But there was some trailers we could talk about. Other than that, was there anything on anybody's mind to discuss? Or I know we're kind of running long in the tooth here. So,
What trailers?
well, there
I haven't seen
was
anything.
a John Wick trailer, and there was the Tetris trailer.
Wait,
I haven't
Tetris?
seen either one of those.
Okay, I think Tetris is one we should check into. I was hoping Script Doctor would be here by now. The Script Doctor was the one who brought this up to me, and I had no idea this was a thing. I know the
There's a
story.
Tetris?
Okay, here's the thing. I wasn't sure at first until I saw the trailer. I'm like, yes, this is the story you're doing. Tetris is one of those games where if you know the story behind the game itself and how it made its way to America, it is a very interesting story. And then once I show you this trailer, you'll see what I mean. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea for a movie. Let me find it here. Open up.
So it's a documentary?
No.
Or a docudrama?
Docudrama.
Okay.
And it's got the kid who played Elton John in it. Taron Egerton. I can't remember the other guy in it, but
You should
Come
check out.
on,
There's a band
stupid
called
commercial.
Power Glove, but they do a cover
sorry, I
of
can't
the
hear
music
shit
from
right
Tetris.
now.
They're
Stupid.
going to have the
thing.
soundtrack in it?
Kinda. That's probably what I'll get nailed with here on this trailer. I bet. Watch. Because of the other song that's in the trailer.
It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I played for 5 minutes. I still see falling blocks in my dreams. It's poetry, art, and math all working in magical synchronicity. It's the perfect game. Tetris?
Tetris.
Tetris.
Tetris. Tetris. I don't get it.
It's a combination of Tetra, Greek for 4, and tennis.
Tennis.
The Russian inventor, he likes tennis.
Hazel. Yeah.
This game isn't just addictive, it stays with you. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Hank, only 10 other people in the world have seen what you're about to see. It's called the Game Boy.
Package it with Tetris.
Can you get us the rights?
The Soviet Union had worldwide rights. Nothing gets out easily. I'm gonna go to Moscow.
You're walking into a country that still considers America enemy numero uno.
Okie dokie.
You sure you don't have to talk to your wife about this first?
Pioneers have to bet the house to win.
But not literally.
Listen. Have you ever heard our apartment this quiet before?
This is the inventor of Tetris.
Your game is brilliant. I'm gonna make you a millionaire.
Mr. Hodges, have you ever negotiated with the Soviets?
We're here for Tetris.
We've seized столько ради денег.
What do you say? I don't speak Russian.
The most powerful man in Communist Party is watching you and your family.
Do you know where your husband is?
What the hell is going on?
The world is changing, and Soviet Union will not be left behind.
You want to play with the big boys? This is how the world works.
Where is my money?
This is insane.
We can't protect you.
Sometimes you gotta forget the rules.
Go, 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 go!
This is criminal. The Soviet Union is about to implode. They're lying. Everybody's lying.
Go home! The cavalry is coming.
We don't have time.
I have a plan.
Oh, come on. You guys are the kings of cliffhangers.
Not the bat.
That, of course, I believe is the president of Nintendo at that point. But yeah. Yeah, for those who didn't know, it was a very huge situation getting this game over here. Like, the government claimed they owned the rights to it, and the guy who made it, like, they were trying to cut a deal. It was a really fucked up story, and I'm glad they finally made a movie about it. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know about you guys, but
oh my god,
the script
oh
doctor
yeah,
brought that
let's
up to
do
me.
this.
I love movies like that, though. See, those are kind of movies I really love, like docudramas, shit like that.
It looks good, but I don't know how I'm going to watch it because I can't get that Apple Plus. Because I don't have an Apple device.
Yeah,
I think
what's
I
an
might have to
Apple
get
and
an
when's it
Apple
coming to
box.
PC?
CC, that's funny. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and check that out. I think I'm gonna have to get one of those Apple box thingies.
You got to have it. Do you have an iPhone?
No.
Then you can't. That doesn't do any good. That's the problem with it. Because even if you have like an Apple box for your TV, you can't create the account to make it work because you have to verify it with your iPhone.
You're kidding me.
I wish I was, because we were trying to sign up for Apple Plus for like to do like the week, whatever it was, like the trial to watch some shows. Tried. I couldn't sign up because we all have Androids.
Well,
there might be a workurround that I just haven't found, but
maybe
people in the
if
chat
not,
may know, but-
well, now
I mean,
there was
besides
a
pirating.
see, there was like the only last time there was something on the Apple thing that I wanted to watch was the not Mr. Miyagi, the Pat Morita documentary, and that came out for sale, as well as being on streaming on Apple. So I wonder if this will too. It'll come out on video on demand, but we'll have to see. If it doesn't, I guess I'll have to break down and figure it out.
The Spirited was good. That was an Apple Plus thing.
See, I have an Apple phone here that's not turned on activated that somebody gave to me when I was trying to get on Twitter Plus or whatever you call it, the Twitter, so I could get the thing. Because for a while, all you could do is activate it with an Apple phone or an iPhone or whatever. I tried to do it, but it still wouldn't let me do it. So I was like, whatever, fuck it. So I don't think that'll work because it won't even let me sign into the phone without an Apple thingy. So this is why I hate Apple, because of their proprietary bullshit. Ugh.
Yeah, so that's in order to watch their TV shows, you're gonna buy their phone too. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I can find other ways, yo ho ho, to do that. But no, this looks interesting, so I want to see it. Anybody else want to say anything about it? No.
Looks really good. That's the kind of movie.
It'd be easier to watch this than it would be to get onto Apple Arcade, as someone who doesn't have a lot of Apple products in the house. So, I'm sure I'll be able to see this. But there's some games on Apple Arcade I really want to play, and I may never get to.
I hear you. Anybody else?
I said, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. We'll check it out if we can, and maybe we'll review it or something. Morgan King says, is the description of the show a spoiler? This show, there is no description. But if you're talking about any show, maybe. I've seen some descriptions that have been like, I've seen different kinds of descriptions. I've seen ones that are more like setups, like they'll give you an idea of what's in the show, but they won't answer it. And I've seen other descriptions that'll flat out tell you everything that happens in the show. But I think that's more or less depending on how you seek out what descriptions. That's the best way I can answer that anyway. What about you guys?
I agree completely. But I think Cece made the best point with the thumbnail. That's really, I think, kind of scummy when people drop it in a thumbnail. I've seen people. Well, it's what I think Morgan's right. Between Morgan and Cece, if it's in the thumbnail and the script, that's too much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would call it like the TV guide description. That's what usually like cable and streaming shows generally, when you flip them through them, they'll give you like what I call the TV guide description, and that is like such and such character makes a discovery, but will so and so do this when they find out. Like that's the old TV guide description, right? It doesn't tell you everything, but it's enough to entice you in. But then I've seen other descriptions where I go through rundowns of shows where it literally says like so and so dies this episode, this person finishes this thing that was set up in episode 6 or whatever. I've seen breakdowns like that. But again, I think it all depends on what you're out looking for, Morgan. So there you go. And Mecha J says, would never expect to make a biopic on Tetris. Might check this movie out. No spoilers, though. Yeah, I see what you did there, Mecha J. Yeah, it looked interesting to me. It's first I heard about it. The easiest path to go through the hassle of downloading iTunes on a Windows computer and logging in with your ID that way. Okay. Because I have like an iTunes ID, I believe, but I rarely use it because I don't like getting my music through them. And so I usually go through usually Amazon Music, to be honest with you, and I just go buy MP3s or buy the CD to begin with. But yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of digital music to begin with unless I just make my own. So, and those who listen to MEAD Radio know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that, was there anything else to discuss? Dubstep. Let's wrap this up. What do you guys say?
Yep.
Cool.
So now, Dustin, you hang out with us on. Yeah, there you go. You hang out with us on Tuesday to talk movies and stuff like that. But you have another channel altogether that isn't exactly about movies, right? It's more about keto diet.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I, we do product reviews for keto stuff. We tell you if they're good or not, or what we buy them. Basically, try them so you don't have to, kind of thing. And we do cooking tutorials and recipes and that kind of stuff.
So yeah, if that's something you think you might be into, check that out. Otherwise, you'll definitely see Dustin hanging out on Toxic Tuesday, and I'm sure you might see him again here on MEAD as well. So thank you for hopping in. It's a good chance to talk to you outside of Toxic Tuesday.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. We got a quick super chat here from Marachi, who says, I have been seeing a ton of Hogwarts spoilers in all posts on the game. They are probably from the Danger Hair nose ring crowd of the whining NPCs. Well, that's another like form of just being a jerk about it, right? Like we were talking about earlier, where people are just pricks about something. And I mean, hey, we could kind of be guilty of that too, considering we dislike certain things. Sometimes we will go out there and spoil things through saying what we don't like about a movie and may not be thinking about it necessarily up front. But hey, what are we going to say? I mean, we can't make some of this shit up when they're trying to say shit like socialism is actually a good thing in a movie like Ant-Man, you know? Sometimes you gotta call it out. But yeah, CC, Friday night. Anything else coming up other than that?
Well, two things, I guess. First of all, is Friday night, the late show with Mexican Iron Man. If you want to hang out on another show with Mexican Iron Man, by all means, it's an awesome show. And it's one of the best. So totally check that out. And then after that, we'll sing some karaoke over on my channel if you want to come over and hang out for that. The other thing I want to mention is Corey on Witch in Residence. If you remember him from Pop Culture Breakdown, he's got a bit of an old like Art Bell Coast to Coast AM style thing going on every Thursday after this show. So if you enjoy that sort of content, I'm going to hang out over there with him.
Cool. All right, and I can attest to the fact that CC does not sing with a Canadian accent. It's really weird.
How would you even do that?
You just say A after every other line or something.
Oh, good.
The Northern Canadians, they have more of the accent. I grew up in Toronto, so
just sing about poutine.
I'm just picking on you because you slip into it more than Script Doctor does, and I always pick on Script Doctor when he does. But anyway, Mikey, what do you got coming up besides Late Night with Mexican Iron Man?
Tomorrow will be Midnight's Edge, and depending on who shows up, it'll be Midnight's Edge. Good Morning Canada.
All right.
That's it. Come see us tomorrow,
right.
Midnight's Edge in the morning.
6. Anything you got coming up?
Yeah, I too will be on Loki's Mornings of Mischief Late Night with Mexican Iron Man show tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Central. Mikey? Yep. And then after that, I am going to be, I'm just posting her link in the chat. I'm going to be on Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs. We're going to hang out with some cool people and shoot the shit. It's some of the most fun that I have on YouTube is hanging out with her.
Cool. And hopefully you get better. And I'm glad Mike is better after eating bad corned beef.
I swear, Tom, it looked great. And when I put it in the microwave and I heated it up, little did I know it wasn't making it better. I was just cooking the
making
bacteria.
It fucking worse.
Yeah, I was making it worse. I was getting the bacteria all nice and warm, ready to replicate in the tummy.
Was it in your fridge?
Yeah.
And how long were you gone?
Well,
you dumb shit.
Kind of 5.5-ish weeks, more or less, 6 weeks.
Mikey,
you told me a month to begin with. Dude.
Okay, I did the math. It was ended up being 6 weeks from the time I left to when I ate it. I counted it because I was sitting there grabbing my stomach.
Was this like just Tupperware or what?
Well, it kind of was just in a plastic thing, and I put like a little paper towel over it.
Unbelievable.
Hey, that's why
Mikey,
I'm Team Cracker. Don't rely on the Mexican people to say
you're going to keep doing this, and then you're just going to make me have to move out there to take care of you.
Oh, that would be awesome. I
am picky when it comes to my food shit. Like,
where did you get your degree from, Mikey?
Okay, you know what?
I've been made fun of for throwing food out because of dates on it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't normally do that, but the fridge was pretty bare.
Oh, trust me, if I think something's at least even remotely close to being out of date, it's gone.
I'm the same.
What about Twinkies and Ho-Hos?
Those are good until the end
forever.
Like forever. Like,
did somebody just snort?
Yeah, I thought
that was Mikey. That was Mike. So yeah, with that, kids, you can find me on the morning show, of course, spoilers. Until then, who knows where I'll pop up. I might pop up on the Thursday night program with comics, which is going to be starting shortly if it hasn't already. And this program will shoot you over there anyway. And if you haven't noticed, we have a new emoji.
You did. You crazy son of a bitch, you did.
We have the super version of it over on the main channel that Culture Casino put together. That is amazing.
Amazing. Did you want to do a little promo for membership since there's a member?
Yes, we can do that. Yes. If you get a membership, you can get emojis like that that you can see in the chat right now. And this one here, that was like a miracle because like Andre comes on and he's like, we need an elf emoji.
The emoji should have something Mexican and a Fanta.
No, he said it exactly like this, Mike. He goes, we need Elf drinking one of Mikey's Fantas in a sombrero, a Mexican sombrero, he said. And lo and behold, Culture Casino managed to pull it off. Not only that, he's singing karaoke while he's doing it. In a very sporty jacket, mind you.
Yeah.
I like how there's a Mexican Iron Man on the Fanta orange can.
Yeah, and it's a Mexican Iron Man Fanta.
Oh, can you do a close up on his jacket?
I can try.
Because it looks like somebody took a can of cheese, like cheese whiz,
like cheese whiz
in a can, and like covered it with. Okay, now I see it. Okay.
The velour couch.
So enraging, so unfortunate.
And
if it sells memberships, let's go.
Yes, and then also we do have a planned member stream this weekend. We're not sure exactly what time, but we'll decide on that before the morning show tomorrow because we have to. And,
wait, I have to send you something that Daryl sent me.
Oh, is it for this show that we have to get to now or tomorrow? Okay, so all right, hurry up and do that, and then I'll finish off this spiel. But we hope to have it at some time this weekend, but we're just deciding on a time yet, and it's going to be what we call for our international members. So it may be an oddball time for our U.S. listeners, but it will probably be a normal time for anybody outside of the U.S. But chance for those who don't normally get a chance to.
Wait,
talk
what
to
time is
us
it going to be?
Oh Lord.
The butt crack of dawn or the middle of the night.
Like 6 a.m. or something?
In the middle of the night.
No, seriously, what time is it going to be?
Like probably 3-4 in the morning, our time.
Have a good stream.
Heart and Souls
You'll get up
Day
to pee and you'll join us, Mikey.
with the Elf Food Pantry. Why is that spelled Elf like that? And do they have a lot of cats?
Wow, that's so weird.
I want to go to the Heart and Souls spa. That's kind of clever. It's sole, like the sole of your foot.
Now, that makes sense though, because maybe they're going to rub your feet.
Feet are gross. It's my least favorite human body part.
Well, yeah, but if somebody's going to rub my feet, I'll pay them for it.
How much?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
Okay, well, let me know.
I'm putting out applications now. $16. That's not enough, Dustin.
Do everything else for him. Wipe his fucking nose.
Whoa!
Oops, I thought I was muted.
Not me. You do well, like literally. You haven't yet. Do I need my nose wiped?
Feels like sometimes.
I might. I mean, when I'm sick, I'm a big baby, but I don't know if I've really.
I'm a big baby. I've been a hot fucking mess this week.
That's all right, but we still love you, and we hope you get better because, yeah, you got to come back to karaoke one of these nights. CC wants to have you on
always
Friday night
welcome
karaoke. So you got to get your voice back in order.
Yeah.
But with that,
and it's funny because I did my very first karaoke when I had bronchitis.
That's true, and you kicked ass too.
Thank you.
And with that, did we miss a super chat? Somebody said something about $2 in the chat. I was making sure I didn't miss something. I know I missed one yesterday because of StreamYards.
Nope, the last super chat was from
Warachi.
Yeah, about Hogwarts. Spoilers.
Last call. If anybody thinks we missed one, I don't think we did, but okay.
Or if you want to send one.
Yeah, last chance to send one. Name your price. Is that? Oh, that's what they're doing. They're naming their price. Never mind. I get it. Nerf. $2. That's all. Come on over. You can rub my feet for that.
I got molested in a little boy's room.